Most of the salmon we buy in the UK comes from the sea lochs of Scotland, where 200 fish farms hold a staggering 50 million salmon. But to grow so many salmon, you need an awful lot of fish food. The feed makes up 80% of the carbon footprint of farmed salmon. Fish farmers Rory Conn and Nicholas Blackburn know all that fish food is a pressing environmental issue.
On this site, there are 300,000 salmon. With the size of the fish currently, we will be feeding approximately 10 tonnes a day across all the pens.
This briefcase contains samples of the ingredients of the feed, the particular oils and proteins which make the salmon grow best.
This is the feed that we're using here on this site. It's a diet that's made up of 10% fish meal, you can see that here, as well as 10% fish oil. The rest of the diet is principally made up of a variety of plant raw materials.
Most of the fish elements of the feed come from conventional fishing. Catching fish and then feeding this fish to other fish is an inefficient way to produce food. But the relatively high carbon footprint of salmon could be about to change. Dr. Craig Woods works for a biotech company called Deep Branch that's changing how the feed for fish and other animals is made. Craig's ingenious project will harness the waste carbon dioxide from power stations and convert it into protein. He does this by growing up a special type of bacteria.
We pump in carbon dioxide, which is the greenhouse gas, but also the carbon source for our bacteria. And we make sure that the bacteria has got the perfect conditions for it to thrive, because we want to make as much of it as possible, as efficiently as possible, because that's what's eventually going to be fed to the fish.
The growing bacteria is made up of protein, which can then be turned into the raw material for the feed.
I'll get some of the bacteria out, so we can have a look at them. So there they are, looking happy. This will then be put into a centrifuge, which will concentrate up the biomass. We then dry that and turn it into a powder form, which then looks more like this. And that is a finished product.
Within 3 years, Craig hopes to scale up his small lab process into an industrial plant, producing 100,000 tonnes of protein feed a year. Enough to provide 2 billion portions of salmon.
Now, if we were going to make the same amount of protein on a soy plantation, then that would represent an area 3 times the size of Paris. Ultimately, if you're thinking about a salmon fillet, we would look to make a salmon fillet with 25% less carbon footprint.
Craig's research could bring good news in the future. For now, other forms of seafood have lower carbon footprints.